Hello everyone, welcome to my channel, Mr. Adeo Bet Predict. In today's video, I'm going to show you guys some leagues that are more profitable when it comes to betting prediction. We have some varieties of sports games. For example, we have the tennis, basketball, and football. So in today's video, we are going to explore two strategies, one from the tennis and the other from the football. The tennis strategy that we are going to explore, and we are going to use it to predict some games for today's match. And under the football league, we are going to select some major leagues that we are going to predict our strategy. So for the football, the strategy we are going to be predicting happens to be the corner strategy, the corner betting prediction. So I'll be sharing you guys some tips on what to look into and the details you need to evaluate before you go on into predicting your corner over. And when it comes to tennis happens to be a very simple strategy and very easy strategies to go with within a just few periods and minutes you are winning your tennis prediction. No, so without wasting much of our time, let's move on into our predictions, our stats, to evaluate and do some analysis. And I'm just going to do some basic, or let me say, I'm just going to give you guys a lead. I'll give you a lead and you guys will go on to practice with the rest. Now let's move on to our stats and do the evaluation. Okay, so now we have some match today, but not like the other time. So you click on today and let's go for the leagues. So don't forget that I told you guys that the most profitable leagues that you can predict your games on, and when we are talking about consistency, you have to focus on major leagues. Most times the major leagues, they always take things serious. And so let's go for the major leagues, the top leagues. We are selecting all these for tennis. So now we have a match for the ATP France men's singles, and we also have just a match for WTA from France, and just a match from um, Morocco WTA. So we are going to evaluate these three games and we are going to check if they meet the analysis. So if you haven't watched my tennis betting strategy, you can browse through the channel and get to watch the video, or I will drop the video link in the video description right now. So the next thing you just need to do is to click on the stats, check the stats, their previous games, and that is where we are going to go. So for this particular bet platform I'm using, I don't know, it cannot be available all over the world, but I think but mostly in some African countries. So you just go to the head to head new. This is the head to head new here. So by checking the head to head new, you are going to see some average stats. And what I always like to predict when it comes to lawn tennis prediction is the first set total point. The first set total point. I always like to predict first set total point as over 7.5 because it happens to be one of the common points that occurs in tennis predictions. Now, so you guys are seeing the average total point for the games of the players playing at home, and the average games in first set for the player playing at home. So we are only concerned with the average first set. That's what I like to play when it comes to tennis most times. So for the average total first set point by the home player happens to be 5.0, and the average first set total points for the away player happens to be 5.8, as you guys are seeing on your screen. And adding these two together is giving you it will surely give you guys 10.8. So if you're having something like this, maybe you have the 5 points for the home player, 5 points for the away player, then you are good to go. Whenever you see 5 points and above, you are good to go to predict the game as first set over 7.5. So before you conclude on that, you have to check other factors too. You have to go to our live bet platform to evaluate if truly these particular players have been having first set over 7.5 total points. Now let's check. Okay, so it is the match between these two under the France men's single. So if you also have a live live score app, you can go for it. So we are going for the tennis. So for today, so this is the match we are evaluating. Don't forget, when we check the average first set total points that these two players have been having, it happens to be 5.0 and 5.8. And I said that when you have 5.0 and 5.8, you can advance further to, to evaluate their previous games and how they've been performing so far. Now let's check and let's see. Okay, check their head to head. Okay, so this is their last 5 games and they've never played any other match before except this one that they are going to be playing now. They haven't played any games against each other before. So we are only going to evaluate their last 5 games for the home player, the last 5 games for the away player, and I didn't mean that they've been playing together like against each other. We would have evaluated this also, but we're only concerned about this particular stats right now. So first, let's do the analysis for the home player, and that is the last 5 games. And let's check. The only thing that you need to check is check if truly they've been playing over 7.5 in their first set. And also you have to make sure that at least out of these last 5 games that you want to check right now, just make sure that they've at least played 4 match as first set over 7.5. The same thing must happen to away players also, and that's how the team must be. Now let's check the first game here that ended up as 2-0. So fortunately the first set ended up as 6-2. Okay, we are good to go. Let's check the second game. Okay, fortunately the first set ended up as 6-4, which is over 7.5. Let's check the third game. Okay, the first set also ended up as over 7.5. The first set, you don't forget. So let's check the fourth game here. Okay, unfortunately this particular match ended up as a 6-1 at first set. Okay, hopefully the last game must ended up as first set over 7.5, and if not, we have to avoid the game. Okay, fortunately the match extremely ended up as over 7.5, so we are good to go with the start of the home player. Now we are moving on to the away player, which is, the name is complex to pronounce. So okay, the first set ended up as 6-4, okay, over 7.5. Let's check the second game. Okay, also ended up as over 7.5, 6-4. Let's check the third game. I think, okay, this is a walkover. Let's keep that. Okay, ended up at 6-3 over 7.5 first set. Let's check the last one here. Fortunately this is also 6-4 first set over 7.5. Actually, one thing about first set over 7.5 is that mostly this particular figure happens to be the common figure that these players, when it comes to tennis, always play. The worst figure that they can play happens to be maybe 7 on dot or 6. These are the worst points that they can play. But don't forget the first step. Make sure that you evaluate their average total point on your bet platform. Make sure that they are having at least 5.0 of their average first set total points for each players. Then move on to their last 5 games and check if at least both teams are playing at least 4 games as the 4 games out of their last 5 games as first set over 7.5. Now let us check the market, or let me say the odd provided by the bookmakers for the first set over 7.5. So let us check the market. Wow, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Sorry guys. So the bookmakers already blocked the over 6.5 option, and the over 7.5 option happens to be a very ridiculous market. I'm sorry guys. Maybe probably I will just avoid this particular game. It is very small. Sorry. We should be seeing something around maybe 1.18, 1.10, something like that. But I think they already know the outcome. So please guys, these particular steps I want you guys to also apply it so that we won't waste much of our time in this particular video. So I'll be moving on to the next strategy that you can apply for the weekend. That is the corner betting strategy. So I'll be adding more details to today's steps, because we know betting strategies, they always change over time. Betting strategies changes over time, and that's the reason why you always have to look for updates. Like you need to always update your strategy. Things are dynamic when it comes to sports, and that's the reason why. So please guys, these other two games, kindly go and apply these particular strategies I just showed you guys now, and applied it, and let's see the outcome of it. Let me check the market for the rest. The over 7.5. Okay, this is 1.12. So this is what you should be having for the other game also, but unfortunately, probably maybe the bookmakers have some reason why they extremely reduce that particular market for that particular game. So let's check this also. So we're having 1.15. So this is the common range of the odds that you'll be getting from first set over 7.5, and it happens to be one of the common outcome in lawn tennis by applying this particular strategy. Now let's move on to the corner prediction, and that is under football. Okay, so oh sorry. Okay, yeah, so we have some games today, and these are the factors that you need to consider when you want to predict your corner prediction. So the first factor that you need to consider before moving on to the aspect of checking the last 5 games of both the home team and the away team is that you need to look at the league position. Yes, first look at the league position, and after looking at that, then you conclude on whether you are going to predict it as over 7 or any figures that is below. So now for my corner prediction, I will not be using my best platform for that. I will be using my live score app for that particularly. So let's go. So in this particular video, I will only make use of a particular just one match as an example, and after that, I want you guys to also apply the strategy in selecting your desired odd. So let's check the La Liga, and we have some games here, and okay, let's go for Real Sociedad and Atletico Madrid. So when you click on your game, and the first thing that you need to look at when it comes to predicting corner is that you need to look at their standings, their league table, because this idea, or let me say, this theory of a relegation and teams that are safe on the league. First, the relegation teams and teams that know that they are already you know naturally, even if they play 5 games next, surely they cannot be promoted, or they can't play the major leagues in the next season. So most of these leagues, they don't really put energy in their games anymore, and they just play for fun, and their coach also make use of the opportunity to play players that did not really have the chance of playing the games during the season. So relegation teams don't always go for predicting corner on them, because they happens to be, when it comes to attacking, they don't really attack very well. And this is what you just need to do. Let me quickly show you guys so that you understand what I'm talking about. When you have a league table like this, so we have the relegation zone, and among this relegation zone, we have teams that already, even if they win their match, they have relegated. For example, these teams and this. So any teams that are playing with these particular opponents, these teams won't really have the energy and the motivation to pressure their opponents, to score, because there's nothing that is motivating them anymore. So what you just need to do is that when you want to predict your corner, make sure that the teams that you want to predict your corners on, both the home and the away team, they are not in this particular zone. And another thing is that you have to count up, like, these teams. If the team you want to predict your corners on, they are playing in this range, like after the four, just check the 4 teams that is close to that is on the relegation zone. Okay, the first one we have in here is Almeria, we have Granada, we have Cadiz, we have Mallorca. So these are the 4. teams that's very close to that are close to relegation zone, and another 4 teams that are close to the last 4 teams on the table. So we have Rayo Vallecano, Las Palmas, Celta Vigo, and Sevilla. So for now, what we have that are safe that you can predict as your corner over is that anything from here, upward, we can go for it as our over corner. But before you conclude on going for over corner in that particular game, you have to just check the stats, because even when we have teams that are that are up on the table, checking their stats, you notice that their styles of playing, the way they play games, they don't put pressure. Maybe they have a particular style, tactics of playing that it won't involve wasting balls, maybe taking too much of shots. Maybe there are teams that press, and maybe in a swift um, maybe probably in a swift instance they just score without maybe hitting the keeper, and maybe keeper parrying the ball to the corner side. So what you just need to do next is that after consider the factors that I just showed you guys now, that you have to check the league table, you have to check their last 5 games, and if possible check the last 8 to 8 games. So for me, if I'm probably in hurry, or I don't really want to fully focus on their last previous games that they played against each other, I just check their last 5 games of the home team and the away team, and I must make sure that the teams that are involved in this particular match have enough corners. So for example, in this particular match that ended up as a 0-2 Real Sociedad winning, we have to check their stats, and let us check the total corner that Real Sociedad had. Okay, they had 2 corner. So let's check this particular match also. Okay, they add Real Sociedad add 3 corner here. So adding 3 with 2, that is 5 corner. So we have another one here. Okay. So Real Sociedad also add 2 corner here. So that is our 7 corner that we're having now. 7 corner. So let's check this. So in this particular match, we had 7, don't forget, and adding 7 with this particular 7 that they had, they're making 14. So we are going to check the last game. The last game, and that is 11 corner. So we are adding 11 with 14, and that is giving us 25. Okay, so we have 25 as the average total corner that the Real Sociedad had in the last 5 previous games. That is 25. So uh don't forget, we check the last 5 games they had with other teams, so we are dividing that 25 with 5 now. So my people, by dividing 25, which is their average corners, with 5, then we are having 5 again. So let us keep that 5 in one place, and let's check the last 5 games of the Atletico Madrid, and let's see the total corners that they've been having. So in the last game they had 7 corners. Okay, let's check this particular match also. Here they had 3 corners, making 10. So here they had 4 corner, making 14. So here they had just 2 corner, making 16. So this is the last, which is the fifth games. So they add 3 corner here. So guys, the total corner that Atletico Madrid had happens to be 19 in the last 5 previous games with other teams. So we are going to divide that 19 by 5, and let's see what we are. So 19 divided by 5 happens to be 3.8, and don't forget the average point for the home team, which happens to be Real Sociedad, happens to be 5. So we have to add it by 5, and the total average point is 8.6. Now, if you want to consider the factors of their last previous games they've been having with each other, we are going to consider that also. So in this segment, you just have to check, you know, the total points that they've had in the last 5 games. The process can be long, but it is very safe. So check. We have, I believe you guys can see what I'm talking about. So if you happen to be someone that always like playing over 7.5 corners, corners can be very dangerous. But I will give you guys tips, or let me say hints on where to predict your corner market when you want to play extremely safe, or people that are interested in playing maybe rollover and they want extremely safe odds. Now check this. They had 5 here in total. So they had 7 here. So adding 5 with 7, it give us 12. So let's check this. Okay, we have the total of 10 corners here, and 12 plus 10, that is 22. 22. So let's check this game also. So we have 14 here. So adding 22 with 14, we got 36. So let's check the last game, the last match. So don't forget we had 36 in total in the last 4 games, and this is the last match. And adding 36 with their 3 and 2, that is 41, as their last 5 games they played against each other as 41. Now that 41 is what we are going to divide by 10, and let's go back to our calculator. So guys, don't forget this is the average point we got from both home and away total corner by doing some evaluation that you guys, I believe you guys did not miss. So this thing is like just taking a long time because I'm teaching you guys. It's a very fast strategy that, in a short period of time you are going to get what you want. Just quick strategy, but it's because I'm, putting you guys through the process. It's not something that should have taken so much time like this. So now just add it with 41 divided by 10. The reason why I'm dividing the 41 that we got from the total points that they played against each other is because, you know this particular 41 involve two teams points. That is the corner for the home team, which is Real Sociedad, and the corner for the away team, which is Atletico Madrid. So that is the reason why it's supposed to have been 5. At least been that we are dealing with just single team, just a team, but we are dealing with 2 when it comes to checking, evaluating the total points, the total corner of points that they had with against each other. Now we are dividing it by 10. So the average total point that we had now is 12.9. This is what I always do. This 12.9, I always divide it by 2 again. And surely I always go for over 6.5 or over 5. And anything that is below this 6, I always go for it as over corner. But one thing that I've discovered is that when you want to play safe, when it comes to corner, extremely safe, when you consider all these particular factors, so far you are having something that is around, maybe for example in this particular match, sometimes I always like to avoid it. For me, I always like to avoid it, but in some situation whereby I'm having, maybe let us assume that the average total point that we have here happens to be around 8. I always see these particular games, I always see games like that as a very, very sure games that you can even go for as over 9.5 corners. But if you want to play safe, extremely safe, when you're having something around maybe 7.5, 8, you can extremely go for over 4.5 corner. Surely 4 corners and above we have on the game like that. By considering the position on their league table, make sure that the teams that you are playing against, you are predicting your games on, they are not close to relegation zone. And sometimes I will also advise you guys that if you want to predict your corners, don't go for cup. Maybe you are going for cup games and don't go for them. So guys, I believe this particular video is useful and you are able to grab something from it. So thanks for watching. See you guys in the next video. Bye. Don't forget to like our video, subscribe to our channel, and drop a comment if you have any questions, and if you have any strategies that you really have interest in, make sure you let us know. So bye.